have wealth, and it brings you dignity, it allows you to fulfill your obligations, it allows you to be good to your neighbours, be good to your parents, be good to your family, to be able to give to them, be able to give charity. Giving charity is also a good sign of a Muslim. So, and be generous. If you haven't got any money, how are you going to be generous? So you want that level of money. It also safeguards your iman, there's money. One, by giving charity, it gets rid of tribulations. You should always give charity. Every day you should give charity. Always give charity as much as you can. And give it regularly because it brings barakat and blessings into your life. But it protects your iman because then it stops you doing things. Because when you have no money, you're vulnerable. People can buy you, people can tempt you with stuff, especially if you're needy. That's why you don't want to be needy. So you need a level of money, a level of wealth that allows you to say no to people. You don't want to be dependent on it. That's where financial independence comes up. That you're not dependent on anybody. So Islamic financial independence isn't that you get a level of money that you don't care about anything and do what you want. Financial independence in Islam is that you are dependent upon nobody but Allah Ta'ala. So you're dependent on nobody but Allah Ta'ala. So you don't care about the truth. If you need to tell me the truth, you tell me the truth. Because I don't know you don't owe me anything, and I'm not feeding you, I'm not paying for you. You're able to speak the truth, and when you're able to speak the truth, that's what true independence is. So you want to be independent, so you're not dependent upon anybody else. So you want that level of wealth, that you can then live your own life, you're not begging anybody. Asking somebody for money is a sin. So those people who have to ask for money, they're compelled to do it because they've got no other choice. But actually asking other people for money is a sin. But you shouldn't be doing that. A Muslim does not beg. We only beg of Allah Ta'ala. We do not beg of anybody else. So you want to have that level of wealth. And if that means you have to work for it, you have to work for it. You don't steal for it, you don't do anything else for it, you work for it and you earn halal. The Prophet ﷺ said in a famous hadith, it's in Tirmidhi Sharif and in Imam Bukhari's Tariq, which says that the best eating a person could do is eating from his earnings. So that's the best food that you will ever eat, is that you've earned through your own earnings. That's the best risk that you can have, that's the best thing you can have is through your own earnings. Islam does want you to work and earn that level of money that you need to cover your basic necessities for yourself and your family and your dependents, and also to protect your iman. And hopefully allow you to do Hajj, allow you to give Qurbani, because then you can partake in those things as well. But that's what Islam wants you to do. That's what true independence in Islam is, that you have enough money, that you're not dependent upon anybody else, you don't beg anybody else, you can speak the truth, you don't lie for somebody else. You see that in places like Pakistan, in our countries, where people you can buy witnesses outside courts, they're prepared to go in there and lie for you. That's what it is. How many of our people are fighting with their families over land, over money and stuff like that? That just shows independence. If you want that level of money, then you don't need to fight for that stuff. So that's the one meaning of that verse. Allah Ta'ala gave the Prophet ﷺ that money that became dignified, because at the start, the kuffar should taught the Prophet ﷺ. When they should reject it, they should say to the Prophet ﷺ, if you really are the true Prophet, why are you so poor? Why were your followers so poor? If you're really the true Prophet, Allah Ta'ala then made him rich. And the Mufassirin also said that the reason why the Prophet ﷺ started off poor and then became rich, rather than be rich and then propagate, was that if he was rich, people would have said people only followed Islam because the Prophet was rich and powerful. This way, people who followed Islam because of the true message of the Prophet ﷺ. And then when he became rich afterwards, it showed that this was a bounty from Allah Ta'ala. So this is the first concept of Adna, that Allah Ta'ala made him wealthy. And so we need to get that level of money and be dependent on that level of money for that. But the second part that the ulama said, and Mufassirin said for Adna, is that Allah Ta'ala, the word Adna means not dependent, independent, or without any want or need. So if the Prophet was needy, then became rich. That doesn't actually, the literal meaning of Adna, al-Ghani, is somebody who's got no needs, who's got no wants, is independent in that sense. Is that Allah Ta'ala gave the Prophet heart, the strength, that he didn't need anything. He didn't need anything material. So Allah Ta'ala took the love of this dunya, took the love of the material world out of the Prophet's heart. They didn't need it. And that was the greatest wealth he had. They didn't need this stuff. There's many hadiths where the Prophet you sleep on a mat, you sleep on the floor, and the Sahaba Ikram said, why do you do that for? The Prophet said, what am I with this world? I'm like a traveller in this world. Another hadith, Prophet said that if I wanted, the amount of the gold could travel with me. The Prophet had so much money, but I don't want it. The Prophet didn't want it. The Prophet had so much wealth that he give people hundreds of camels. He give away so much wealth. But in his own house, they never ate consistently for 2 days. And the Prophet used to go to sleep hungry because he didn't want anything off this world. So because Allah gave him the contentment in his heart, they didn't need this. And this is for us as well. That true independence, the financial independence, comes from not having that desire for this world. If you don't have this desire for this world, you take that desire out of your heart, that you're independent of this. You don't need the latest iPhone. You don't need the latest car. You don't need a massive mansion. You don't need the latest clothes or the latest brands. If that comes out of your heart, that's when you become truly independent. You don't need all that stuff. And all you want is to please Allah Ta'ala. So there's two parts of the equation. One of the reasons why people think they're poor or work all the time is because the expectation of their wants and needs are so high. They want the latest stuff. They want all these mod cons and they need the latest phones coming out and they want that latest phone. But what you don't realise is what you're giving up. What you need to ask yourself is this, that once you reach a level of wealth, if you work out how much money you need to live with dignity, then ask yourself, why am I working more then? If I only need £500 a week to live on, why am I earning £1,000? Why am I working those extra hours to get myself that £1,000? What am I doing with the extra £500? And don't think of spending with your family, the time you should be spending in the ibadat of Allah Ta'ala, pleasing Allah Ta'ala, looking after yourself, for something that actually is meaningless. It'll stay here. So you ask yourself, there's a famous hadith of Prophet that people say, the Prophet said that the human being keeps saying, Mali, Mali, this is my wealth, this is my wealth. What he doesn't realise is that the only wealth he has is that which he eats, or that which he wears and wears out, or that which he gives in charity. Everything else will stay here. It's not your wealth, it belongs to your heirs and people like that. So what are you doing with that thing? If you're not able to eat it, you're not able to wear it, what good is it to you? You're not using it. What are you giving up? When I was talking about earlier, your time on this earth is limited. You've got 70 years, 80 years, 90 years, and even those 70, 80, 90 years, they're not productive, all of them. Because whilst you're young, you're not very productive, are you? To get to a certain age. And at the back end of your life, you might fall ill, you might not be good enough to do anything. So you've only got a small period of time. And if you're spending that time earning money and then wasting it away on things that you don't need, then you're just wasting that time away. You're not actually doing any good deeds to get close to Allah Ta'ala. And it's in the next world that you will get your rewards. So in this world you abstain from it. So this is where the abstention comes from. This is where true comes from. This is where true wealth comes from. It's the wealth of the heart. And you don't need it. You're not independent if you're wanting something, I want this, I need that latest thing, I need that latest thing, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. You go to people's houses, there are loads and loads of things in there. When do you ever use that? When have you got around to doing that? It's a bit like on your TV now, you've got about thousands of channels. You've got time to watch them. So why are you paying for all those channels? Why have you got all of that stuff? It just shows that there's so much stuff out there, you don't need to have it. You only need the basics. When you go to a buffet to eat, all those dishes are a waste for you. But you actually pay for all of them. But it actually wastes you, because you only have 2 or 3 of those dishes, can't you? Because you haven't got the capacity to do that. But your heart and your eyes want it all, and when you go in there, you think it's a good idea. But most people, when they leave the buffet, you know it's a bad idea. You're a little bit sick. And that's the same with dunya. You think it's a good idea, everything looks glitter here. But when you leave the dunya, you realise how rubbish it was, how crap it was. Pardon English. You realise how it was, because that's what it was. You realise the reality, that the only thing you're taking away with you are your deeds, are the time you spent in the path of Allah Ta'ala. And that's where true financial independence comes from. That get a level of income, get a level of earning that gives you that dignity that you're not begging anybody else and you're only dependent on Allah Ta'ala. But then no more than that. Because then after that, what are you earning that for? Then you then create that free time for yourself, create that space in your heart. Just buying things all the time is actually bad for your character. Gets you into that loop of buying things, and you create a dependency culture. And if you need to break that dependency culture, that's how you become dependent. And there's a saying in American business, because that's what I'm involved in, is that supply creates its own demand. They said that if you make it, people will buy it. Advertising, people will buy it. So they make a lot of rubbish, that you don't really need. You never needed it. But because they created it, they created euphoria around it, they created marketing around it. The biggest profession around is marketing. Marketing rubbish. And they're forcing you to think you need it. They think you need it. It's like, if you're probably too young to remember, in the 70s and 80s, they make, in 60s and 50s, they make cigarette smoking really, really posh and really, really extravagant. They chuck people in an extravagant lifestyle, and what they were doing is smoking a cigarette, and the view was that if you smoke a cigarette, you'll have this really healthy, beautiful lifestyle, and they create that, but what they're selling is a cigarette, but they showed everything else around it. So they're marketing something rubbish like that. And they said, that Coke, if you didn't know what Coca-Cola was, and there wasn't a brand around it, you would never drink it because it tastes disgusting. But because they created that brand around it, got you used to it, people drink it, but actually it's rubbish. You don't really need it. You can wean yourself off it. So, and when we were kids, we never had cups of coffee. If we spent £4 on a cup of tea, we'd get slapped in the face. Well, like spending £4 on a cup of tea. But now people are buying it because they created that culture. And you see many people say to us, if I don't have a cup of tea in the morning or I don't have a cup of coffee in the morning, you can't function. But you function in Ramadan without a cup of coffee, don't you? So you can't do it without it. It's just creating this mentality around us, and that's creating that dependence. So you need to break that dependence, and that frees your time up, and frees your mind up, and frees you up as a Muslim to really then fly. All of these things are dragging you down. All of these things are dragging you down. That time that you're spending earning that money that you don't really need, you could be spending that in the path of Allah Ta'ala, you could be spending that with your family, you could be spending that with your parents, you could be spending that earning Jannah, earning paradise. That's your real success. That's where you'll be really independent, I said earlier. Anything you want will be in paradise. Your parents will be there with you, and they'll be there healthy with you. Your grandparents will be there, your friends will be there, everybody will be there who you want to be there. That's where you strive for, not in this dunya. Don't try to make this dunya a Jannah for yourselves at the expense of the real Jannah. Because no matter what this is, it's nothing close to it. The Quran does say there are things that look like the fruits of Jannah, but they're not. They're nowhere near it. Because when you go to paradise, people will say, this is similar to what we had in the world, but you don't realise it's totally different. It just appears like that. So this is a sign that what appears in this world to be luxury and comforts, they're not really luxury and comforts, they're actually distracting you. So may Allah Ta'ala give our hearts financial independence. So may Allah Ta'ala make our heart independent of the desires of this world, and make us independent of everybody else in this world, and make us dependent on only Allah Ta'ala.